Hey loves, Kim here, and I am back with another video. So if this is your first time on the channel, I just would like to say welcome and thank you so much for watching. And if you like what you see, feel free to hit that subscribe button and be sure to click that bell, that way you never miss an upload from me. And if you're an OG that's been here for a minute, thank you so much for coming back. So I'm here with part 10 of the Magnolia Shopping District Build series here in The Sims 4. If you are not familiar, this series is dedicated to rebuilding the Magnolia Promenade neighborhood that came with the expansion pack Get to Work, because I feel like it was really underutilized. I mean, we did only get 4 lots here, so I want to do my best to maximize it by putting multiple shops on the lots and giving your Sims a variety of things to do. So yeah, here's part 10. So I decided to dedicate part 10 to finishing up this parking deck. I started this in part 5 of this series, and you know what? It had to be finished, like it had to be done, so here it is. I decided to go with a more industrial look. In the last part, I mentioned that in my head, this whole entire lot used to be a factory, and there was parts that was kind of divided up and just repurposed to accommodate the retail spaces. So it was originally a factory, and I'm trying to make it look like that story is true. So yeah, that roof that I was raving about in the last part, it was just covered up and flattened out to make space for cars. But you know what, in the end, I feel like this was the best possible move for this lot, and I really like the way it came out. I'm not completely 100% done with this lot, but I think I'm in a good enough space to move on to something else and then maybe do some tweaks off camera. So yeah, here it is. Right now I'm carving out a little space in the side of the parking deck right above the bridal shop, and that's going to be an area for advertisements. So initially I wanted a television there because I wanted the advertisements to kind of look like they were digital ads, but you know what, it just really wasn't going to work out. So I decided to make the space just a little bit more shallow, and I put in one of the billboards from City Living. I like that billboard because all of the different swatches, they're like really dynamic and they look like advertisements, so I thought that that was the next best thing. Here I am using those columns from the Get Together pack, and they just look really industrial to me, and they match the same columns on the photography studio below, and I'm just aligning the columns so it looks like it's just really reinforcing that parking deck isn't going anywhere. And I'm just deciding what wall patterns I'm going to use around that advertisement. Now I'm just combining all of the smaller squares that was formed throughout this lot and I'm just making bigger areas so it's easier for me to assign parking spots and just to really get the flow of the parking deck going. So yeah, how are you guys doing today? I am doing great. I'm feeling amazing. You know what? This year has definitely been an interesting one, to say the absolute least about. But I'm thankful just for my health and having you guys here. My channel is growing. I see all of you newbies. Thank you so much. Welcome to the Simply-Nisey family. And I'm just focusing on myself and really trying to keep myself productive and, you know, just focused and motivated. And I definitely encourage you all to do the same. Anyway, back into the build. So I'm working on the staircase that leads from the ground floor all the way to the top floor of this deck, and I'm using these stairs. I believe these stairs actually came with the base game pack. I was going to use the ones from the Get to Work pack over here, but I don't know, I just really didn't like how those looked over here. I do use them on the other side, but we'll get to that in just a bit. And now I'm creating a facade of an elevator. How I'm doing that is using the door from the Get Famous pack. This is the door that is like that, it will go like in front of a bank, like a vault. I do change those out in the end, but I did something similar in the hotel part. So, you know, unfortunately, we can't have elevators on lots that are not penthouse lots. So, you know, I have to resort to making a facade of an elevator. Now I'm rearranging the ramps. So these ramps are just roofs. I have one piece of the roof hidden inside of the wall, and I drug out the eave so it can look more like a ramp, and I'm just simplifying it. I'm having both the up and the down ramps go in the same direction because that's going to help me to save space. And like I said, it's just kind of simplifying the layout. Now, you know, let's be honest, we were not driving in the sim, so the parking deck is not exactly the best logistically, you know what I mean? But I think that it gives us a nice facade, and this is like the perfect backdrop for storytelling. Like if you want to go shopping, your sim can leave their car here, and it's just a nice little addition that I feel like is super realistic, especially for me because I live in a metropolitan area. Like parking decks are everywhere. Like if you can't get into a parking deck, you just would be better off, you know, paying an Uber because it's so hard to get street parking. So anyway, I feel like I'm going on a tangent. I am. Right now, I'm working on the entryway into the staircase that I was just telling you guys about a moment ago. And I'm just separating it out from the main parking space. And it's at this point where I decided to assign the floor levels colors. I noticed that in a lot of parking decks, they have like color coordinated like poles and beams and stuff so you can better remember where you parked your car. So from this point forward, I'm going to refer to the floors as colors because that's just easier for me to explain to you guys what's going on. So on the ground level is white, the level above that is blue, the level above that is green, and then the top level is red. I am using this base game wall cover, and it's the ones with like the little squares, and I just liked it because the colors were pretty vibrant. I was trying to use a brick actually, but all of the bricks and like the color swatches, like they look kind of dull to me, so I wanted to just have something a bit more striking and a bit more stand out-ish. Now what I'm doing on the ground level, I am pushing back the foundation some more, and also by me rearranging how I wanted the ramps to go, I was able to gain more space inside of some of the retail shops, so I'll just do those tweaks off camera. But yeah, as you can see, I pushed those ramps back, and my main purpose for doing that was so this toll booth right here could sit on the ground, because when it was sitting on the platform level, it was clipping through the floor above, and that just didn't look good. So I definitely wanted to make sure that it sat on the ground, and I had to delete a couple of rooms, and I'm about to place it back. This is just one of the photography rooms from the last build, but I had to get rid of it because as long as that object was touching a room, it would not snap to the floor, and once I got it to snap to the floor, I just replaced the room. Easy peasy, you know, no big deal there. But yeah, since I was able to get that toll booth to the ground, now I'm just making a little space for the toll booth officer to cross from where the stairwell is over to the toll booth. You know, I just feel like that's something realistic, and it's something that I've seen in some parking decks before, particularly in hospital parking decks. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but I've definitely seen it. So here it is. And I just put those bollards in the way so people will know no car should be in that area. Now I'm just creating these little arrows on the ground using some floor tiles. If you're not familiar with how I'm doing this, I press Control and F, and that gave me a fraction of the floor tile, which is just kind of like a triangular piece, and that's how I was able to get those angles in there. I believe on a Mac it will probably be like Command F or something like that, and I'm not sure what it would be on console. I'm so sorry, you guys. And I put those palm trees out on the front, you know, just to add to the ambiance and blend in with the palm trees all around Magnolia Promenade. And here on the blue level, I'm just getting rid of some of that extra flooring that's not being used and reinforcing that that railing that looks over into those arches. I really like the way that looks. Like I really love it. I really love it. Anyway, back on the blue level. Well, now I'm on the red level. I'm just flipping all around. I'm so sorry, you guys. It's going so fast. But, you know, I was just putting those beams on the corner, and now I'm in the staircase on the other side. So this staircase is in between the hotel and the bridal shop, and this is just another way for you to access the parking deck. That way, if you do decide to use the parking deck, your Sims could get in and out through 2 ways instead of just one. And I thought that was really important, because this is a pretty big lot, and it just sucks having to wait for your Sims to go all the way from one side to another. Now they have 2 points of access, and I thought that was super duper important. And in the stairwell, I'm just still making sure that I'm color coordinated everything, you know, the reds with the reds, the greens with the greens, blues with the blues, and so forth and so on. And then now I am about to pull out some cars from my inventory and these parking stops. So both of these are debug items. There are a bunch of cheats to find them, but as far as the vehicles, you will be better off just going on the gallery. There have been some lovely, amazing people that have put all of the debug cars and things into a room. That way it's just easy for you to download and just pick what cars you want from there. As far as the parking stop, like I said, it's a debug item, so you could put in the cheat. You will open up your cheat window and you will put in bb.show hidden objects, and the debug option comes up in the filter, and that parking stop is from the Strangerville pack. But yeah, the lines on the floor are fences, and they also came from Strangerville. I believe the name of this is The Illusion of a Fence or something like that, and I like it because it's wide enough to actually stand out up against the black floor, because there's also a similar fence from the Get to Work pack, but it's a lot thinner, so it doesn't stand out as much, but it's still thin enough to look like a line. I hope that I'm making sense. I guess I meant to say it's flat enough to look like a painted line, so I really like that. Each space is 3 tiles wide and 5 tiles deep. That's pretty much the size of the average vehicle, so I just tried to make it look as realistic as possible. And then there's some areas where I have the striped parking deck, just to represent you should not be parking there. Mainly that's where logistically it will be too tight for cars to squeeze in, so I just decided to block it off. Eventually I might put something there, but for now I just might just leave it blocked off. But yeah, I am now making a little crosswalk area from where you would access the main stairwell and where the cars are actually coming in, just so people know, hey, pedestrians are here, don't park here, don't drive here. You know, just trying my best to be safe as possible. I'm just going through some trash bins now, and I think I'm about to put a fire extinguisher. Definitely have to be safe, and I'm adding in some of these decals on the walls, and adding these exit signs. So the exit sign came with the Get to Work pack, and I'm mainly putting those by the doors that lead out of the parking deck. And on the blue level, I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to access that second stairwell that I was telling you guys about, because that floor, that level of the parking deck is a bit tighter, because, you know, obviously I built other shops and I definitely wasn't going to destroy that layout, so I'm trying my best to squeeze everything on this level. This level is definitely the tightest, but I think I did a pretty okay job. Let me know in the comments what you think. And again, with that striped walkway, so your Sims can come out of the doorway safely and get to their cars. But yeah, I believe we're probably back on I think we're still on the blue level. Yeah, we're still on the blue level, and like I said, it's a little bit different because of how it's cut out. Also, I have that kind of huge chunk missing above where the toll booth is. but the green and the red yellows are pretty much the same layouts. Now I'm just bringing out more cars from my inventory, and I'm just placing them around just to make it look like they were actually driving and moving about. And then I realized that the ramps were a little bit too wide, so I'm just shrinking them back in. Also, I wanted to do that so it gave your cars a bit more space to move about. At this point, I'm adding in some arrows on the floor using that same fencing from the Strangerville pack, and I'm just drawing arrows to dictate what direction the car should be going in. Initially, I had some bollards in between the area where you would come up and the area where you would come down, but then eventually I realized that didn't make sense, because if your sim made a mistake, or if they got to a level and saw that it was full and had nowhere to park, then they would have to essentially go all the way back out just to come back in, and that would just be a mess. So I got rid of the bollards, and now they're able to cross over if they wanted to stay on the level instead of go all the way back down and then come back up, if that makes sense. I wish I could have done the same arrows with those floor tiles, but it was just too tight up there. It was just really tight, and I couldn't do the same thing. I might still try, but I tried before and it was just too tight. I was playing around with those tires from the Strangerville pack, but I just decided not to use them. I really didn't like how they looked in the space, and I am taking that same fencing in the blue swatch, and I'm creating some accessible parking. So to me, it was very important to have some parking for those who may need to be closer to the elevators, or people who are expecting a child soon. This is definitely realistic, and I try to build as realistically as possible. So I was so happy that there was a blue swatch in this fencing, so I can create that area and just have that priority parking for those who may need it. I know that disabilities and things like that isn't really a subject that the Sims have touched on for pretty obvious reasons. There's just so much that there's so much that can be done, that they want to make sure everyone is being treated equally and things like that. So there's no official system for Sims that may have disabilities or may need that priority parking, but I definitely wanted to include that because I don't know, I just felt like it was super important. Anyway, back into the build. I am using these spandrels in between the ramp that is going downward, and I'm adding that same exit sign from earlier, and I liked it because the way that it's pointing is pointing towards the right, which is the way that you need to turn when you come off that ramp. So that's just a small little detail that I thought was just cool to sneak in real quick. And again, just making sure that all of the levels are properly painted with that standout color. Like I said earlier, I was initially using that door from the Get Famous pack that goes with the vault, but I changed it. So this is a door from the Island Living pack, if I'm not mistaken. It's 4 wide, and the 2 outer tiles are just hidden within the walls, and I feel like this looks a bit more elevator like. And just going back to what I was talking to you guys about having that accessible parking at the bottom of the elevator, I am using a roof to create what looks like a ramp, so people can come from where it's elevated on a foundation down to the ground in a way that's smooth and safe. Now I'm taking these pieces here. These came with the Get Together pack, and I believe it's called Thousands of Years Old, and it's just a little floor piece. And I'm creating I'm creating a crosswalk here. And I would have used a fence, but you can't do fencing on the edge of the lot. So I thought that this was like a really nice alternative, and I really, really liked the way it came out. I'm just adding that satellite dish back on the side of the photography studio. And I popped over real quick to the hotel. Like I told you guys, when I rearranged how the ramps were going to be for the parking deck, I ended up gaining more space in some of the other shops. So in the hotel, what I'm doing is just adding in more seating, specifically more dining, because before there was only 4 tables and now there's 8. So you know, just more space for your Sims to sit and chill in this area. I'll probably do a bit more to it off camera. Unless you guys are interested in seeing me do like quick fixes like this, definitely let me know. Otherwise, I'll just do it off camera, and I'm trying to find some more artwork to put on the walls just to fill in those empty spaces so the space doesn't look awkward now. Back on the red level of the parking deck, I'm just adjusting some of the parking stops, and I am slightly just moving around some of the vehicles because you all know people don't always park perfectly. So I just thought that it made the place look a bit more alive and like it had more movement. And I'm changing those arrow decals. They're from the base game, by the way, but I'm just changing them to white, and I'm having it point to the right direction. Then I looked on the gallery for a police car. I'm sorry I can't call out who did it because it flashed on the screen really quickly, but I thought it was a super cool idea. And I just basically used the stools that they used in the different colors, and I updated the car. I got rid of a lot of those lights and things since I did have a newer car to put there, a more car I don't know how I can say a better quality car to put there, so I got rid of a lot of the lights. And I'm just adding in some branding using some signage from the base game, and I'm also using a sign on the parking deck just to really finish it off. And I love this big sign on the side. I see that all the time in parking decks, like a huge sign that kind of hangs off the side, and that came from Get Famous. And then the other bit, I believe, came with the, I don't know, it came with some other pack. I'm sorry, you guys, but anyway, I have rambled on enough, so I'm going to go ahead and hop off here. If you made it to the end, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this video. It helps me and the channel out more than you know. And be sure to subscribe and click that bell. That way you never miss an upload from me. If you want to see anything else that I've created on the gallery, feel free to follow me. My origin ID is Simply-Nisey. And if you want to see more pictures from my builds and my gameplay, definitely check me out on my social medias, which are always linked down in the description box below. Again, you guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye guys.